Prime Minister Justin, my friend, it's wonderful to meet with you again. Second time here in Riga. Very meaningful here in Aarnes at our military base, where your country has been heading the EFP for, I guess, this is year number 6. Your commitment to the EFP and the success in heading it is very highly appreciated, and we see eye to eye the threat that Russia poses to not only our security or Europe's security, but actually to world security. We see in the fact what happens when they wage war in Ukraine and the grain shipments are disrupted. There are knock-on effects going all over the place. In times of trouble, friends stick together, and democracies, we sometimes squabble in times of peace, and we have disagreements on how high or low taxes should be. But actually, when the difficulties come, that's what proves our mettle, and we're showing that democracy can and must also be at the same time very strong, also militarily, so that we can continue to squabble over high, low, or taxes should be. So your commitment is highly appreciated. Your friendship is very warmly felt. And aside from the hockey field, congratulations. Our relationship between our countries is good and better than it's ever been. And I think it's certainly from my side, and I think from both of us, to do everything to ensure that relationship becomes stronger and better. So thank you, and welcome.
Thank you, Prime Minister Karic. Christianis, my friend, it is so good to see you again. Indeed, this is my third visit, second time engaging so strongly and closely with you. It is wonderful to be here in Latvia, where the example of what NATO can do when we work together is so clear for all to see, not just how extraordinarily well Canadians and Latvians are collaborating on this, but how we're bringing together countries from across the alliance to work as friends and partners in an even closer way. And that's, quite frankly, what the world requires of us right now. Russia's continued aggressive actions were the reason for us to establish this enhanced forward presence, and Canada has been extraordinarily privileged and very, very lucky to be leading this battle group in Latvia. At the same time as we share tremendous concerns around what's going on in Ukraine, not just the invasion of a friendly neighbor, not just the millions displaced, the terrible losses and destruction of so much of the country, but that needing to stand strongly and clearly for the values and indeed the principles, whether it's the UN Charter, whether it's the principles of territorial sovereignty or integrity. The Baltic states, and Latvia in particular, have been absolutely unequivocal as members of NATO, as friends and partners in standing up, and Canada is happy to stand as well, just as strongly on defense of Ukraine. We are all anticipating eagerly the NATO summit over the next couple of days in neighboring Lithuania, where a range of conversations will be undertaken, hugely centered around two things that you and I agree on entirely, which is continued support for Ukraine and a clear pathway to accession to NATO for Ukraine, as well as making sure that Sweden is able to join as well, which we're very, very hopeful about, and I know Canada and others are working very hard to try and make sure that that happens in the coming days. Lots of conversations about the reality of the world we're facing right now, the challenges we're facing with a rise of authoritarian states, of which Russia is just the particularly closest example, but how we stand up for our democracies, how we continue to invest in stability for our citizens, but also continue to invest in security in all the ways that it comes in. We've been talking about everything from climate security to cyber security to traditional military investments, and Canada's continuing to step up on all of that. And I'm looking forward to making a big announcement in a few minutes about how committed we are to continuing here in Latvia, but people will have to wait for that.